How you doing, everybody? Tim here once again. View from the South Stands coming to you on Sunday after TFC's latest game, an unfortunate loss to the Chicago Fire away in Illinois last night. Hope everybody's having a nice holiday weekend here in Ontario. Too bad we didn't have a win to certainly celebrate the holiday weekend with of course TFC blowing a late lead in Chicago last night. Now, a couple of people on Twitter took me to task, and on a couple of the message boards took me to task on what I wrote on Twitter last night. I essentially, at the end of the game, basically said that I'm so sick of the same story on the road, late losses. And I think some people took that the wrong way, because it wasn't exactly the same story in retrospect, was it? Chicago were the better side. Yes, TFC is still not the greatest team in the world. We're not the worst team in the world, Mr. Couvremans, but we're not the best. They were playing away from home in a league that's notoriously difficult to have a good record away from home in. They're playing a team that actually had, I think, about 65% plus possession last night. So not getting blown out and giving themselves a chance to win was something that we've been seeing under Paul Mariner since he took over from Aaron Vinter a couple of months ago. So yes, it was a frustrating loss. Yes, it was a late loss, but it really wasn't the same story. Again, 3 points lost is 3 points lost. Looking at the standings in the newspaper today, I see one of the goals that I've set for TFC, at least as far as me measuring how successful this new Mariner regime is going to be, is I want to catch the Montreal Impact. The Impact have played 3 more games than the Reds. They're currently sitting 11 points ahead. So even if TFC wins its 3 games in hand, it's still going to be 2 points behind the Montreal Impact. So turning it around down the stretch and solidly getting out of the basement and moving up and not letting the Montreal Impact have bragging rights over Toronto FC is going to be a challenge. And Montreal winning last night and Toronto FC losing certainly doesn't help matters, does it? So, Chicago barely squeaked out a win, even though they did have a lot of possession last night. And it's a shame TFC couldn't really hold on to the lead that was actually gifted to them. Marco Pappa with a brutal back pass that Ryan Johnson very clinically took advantage of. Logan Emery, of course, with 2 yellow cards. The second one late. First one a little soft, the second one deserving. That actually, of course, saw TFC go down to 9 men. Then Jeremy Hall got injured, tried to go on. The Reds were out of substitutions. He had to come off the pitch. And that's, of course, on the set play when the second goal was conceded. And there went any chance of getting any points on the road. But there were some things last night, I think, that were interesting. And again, trying to be an optimist here, I want to try to focus on the optimistic things. As I said off the top, yes, it was a loss, but it wasn't the same kind of loss with the same kind of plot that we've seen from Toronto FC earlier this year, which again, I suppose, in a way is kind of progress. I think Eric Hasley starting last night was interesting. I figured for sure he'd be coming off the bench and not starting. Looked good at times. It was really interesting to see how much respect the Chicago Fire defense was giving Hasley last night. It led to Ryan Johnson getting perhaps a lot more room than he's been getting over the last few games when he's been the guy that Toronto, of course, has been trying to play the ball to. And defensively, he's been the guy that the opposition defenders have been trying to shut down. Hasley, with his back to the net, holding up the ball and getting it off to Johnson. Hasley being very technically gifted as well as very strong and very big as well. I think actually bodes well, not just for himself, but for Ryan Johnson going forward. Terry Dunfield is still playing well. I think since Julian de Guzman left Toronto FC, Dunfield has stepped into the de Guzman role so to speak, and stepped in very well. Very good game last night overall, especially defensively. Speaking of defensively, and I wrote a piece about it below, of course, we've got Mr. Darren O'Day, formerly of Leeds, Reading and Celtic, joining Toronto FC over the next couple of days once his international transfer certificate, essentially his playing paperwork, is actually straightened away. We should be seeing him heading to that hole in the ground called Columbus, Ohio, next Saturday for Toronto FC's next road game. And if there's a game, maybe other than Montreal, maybe other than Vancouver, that I want Toronto FC to win, and win badly, it's any time that they play the Columbus Crew. So I'm really hopeful that the Reds can actually have a solid game. O'Day can make a difference defensively, and the Reds can find some way of getting Hasley more in the game and getting some more possession than they had last night. Because frankly, yes, Ryan Johnson scored, and scored a nice goal, but it was a bit of a gift. To his credit, he actually did put the ball behind the net, but there weren't really very many other chances. There was one ball, I think, that hit off the post, but again, coulda, woulda, shoulda, it didn't go in. So the Reds didn't really have a lot of opportunities last night. So hopefully, with O'Day in the center back position, maybe solidifying things there, maybe the midfield players a la Dunfield and Frings can push up a little more, get more involved in the play offensively, and actually find a way of getting some goals in the net, which was a big part, of course, of the early turnaround under Paul Mariners. Not only were things starting to tighten up defensively, shape-wise, but they were getting goals, and they were getting almost a goal a game from Danny Koevermans. And hopefully, Hasley and or Johnson are going to start to do exactly the same thing very, very soon. And for TFC fans, I hope that soon means Saturday in Columbus, Ohio. I'll be watching. I hope you'll be watching as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. And I'll have another one up on Saturday after, of course, TFC's hopeful victory against the Crew in Ohio. And I'll have more posts up about, the movings and wheelings and dealings with the clubs, particularly around Mr. O'Day, in the coming days. So we'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy the holiday weekend. And thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. Cheers.